Okay guys, thank you for clicking on the icon and for watching the video. I do appreciate every single one of you guys for coming back time and time and again, and you're all making this channel grow so much, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Me and the talking hands appreciate you guys. So today's a video. I was making this top, which hopefully it will be out before this video is out, but either ways I'll link in the cards for you guys. So I was making this top and I realized that I haven't taught you guys how to make sharp corners, but with I don't know if to call it a facing type situation, you know, so that it's there on the fabric, you know, right? Like to sew it on and to create these sharp corners. And believe you me, this is like take 7 of trying to get this video done. It's been like one nightmare after the other. I don't know why. So I was in the other part, I was telling you guys that the way to get it is to prep properly. Okay, so, and I'd already done that and ironed that till I realized that there was problem with the filming. So I will just open it up again and show you guys what I did. Okay, now, so to create this, especially for the inner angles, okay, all we need to do is just whatever seam allowance you're going to measure, you're going to use for your sewing, you just measure it. And you do need a sharp marking tool. So even if you're using a chalk, try and sharpen it as best you can. You know, take your one of these hem rulers. They come in really handy for this sort of things. Okay, and we measure 1/2 inch where we intend to, that is going to be our seam allowance, right? So we just come in here, measure 1/2 inch, come in here, measure 1/2 inch, come in here, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And this is for the extended, like the outside angles. Okay, so after then we just fold this up and give it a good press, which is, and I gave mine a really good press, which is why it's folded down like this. Then for this side again, you will just come and measure your 1/2 inch, measure your 1/2 inch, then cross the angles here. Okay, so we drew this straight down this way, and I'm sure you can see the line there, and this we also drew straight down this way. It's harder to see that line, but it's there. Then you need to take a sharp scissors, and remember this was joined together before. And sorry, I forgot to say, like, you can just so you take your sharp scissors and you cut into the angle that you have created to the exact point, not crossing over the points, right? And then you iron straight down, so that when you're sewing, right, you can just sew here and sew down, so that when you're sewing, you just sew down this way and sew this way, and it will just make things so easy for you. Now, to get the shape you want to put for the hem, or even you can even also use these on necklines, and it's totally up to you. Just make sure you take into consideration your seam allowance when you're doing anything. So I don't know if I can, no, I didn't do it on this one, right? So I came, this is where I made the markings that I wanted. You can see super thin and accurate lines. So I just basically drew the shape I wanted, right? Drew the shape I wanted on the top or on the hemline. If you also want this on the neckline, it's equally the same thing. Then I took my ruler and measured the distance, measured from the top to the bottom, measured from the top to where I want, because now you have to understand that literally I was measuring this out. Okay, so I measured everything including seam allowance, because as you can see, now that I have folded everything, my seam allowance has gone in. Okay, I folded this, I've ironed and folded it. So this is 1/2 inch, this is 1/2 inch, this is 1/2 inch. So I made this marking with the seam allowance in mind. Okay guys, so now that we're done doing that, I will show you guys how to sew that up. Okay guys, here are our pieces. I will now sew them onto the top in this split area here. So let me show you guys what that would look like. Okay guys, so this is one that I have already made, and I also teach you guys how to get this look for your tops, you know, like clean edges, and how to also sew these edges down. Okay, so it's really easy. Really, this video shouldn't be more than a couple of minutes. So I made this one, and now I'm going to show you guys how to do it on this one. So for the side seam on here, we are working with a 1 inch seam allowance. I'll start off with here, and because I've already ironed this in, I will just sew on this line here. Then for the hem, we are working with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I will just sew that right across. Okay, so now watch really close. This is our edge that we have sewn, and usually people just take this down, but I like to fold mine. You know, I fold it according to this line that we have sewn here. Fold it here, fold it here, so I get a crisp nice edge. Put my finger into this hold here and flip it inside out. Now we need to turn it in well, and I feel like the fold in there just helps it stay in place a lot more. Okay, now I'll do that to the other side as well. Then also I will understitch as much as I can here, and we will be stitching it to this side, because this will be the side that will go on the wrong side of the garment. Okay, so let us understitch. So I don't know if you can see the understitching, and this will just fold under this way like we did in the front. All we need now is a good press, then we will top stitch. Okay, right, so we have come to much like the grand finale. Excuse, this light is yellow light. It looks horrible, but there's nothing else I can do. So we we'll now mark where we're going to pivot. And actually, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm using 2 threads on a single needle. I'm on the longest stitch, straight stitch, because I want to do top stitching. But I like the dark color because I don't really want it to be too contrasting, because there's already enough fabrics like colors on the thing. Okay, so no back stitching, we will just follow our line. And you have to go nice and slow so that you keep on a straight line. There is a stitch there, but I will continue to sew. So guys, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the insides. As you can see, nice and crisp sewing all the way around. So I like the way it's not kind of too visible on the outside, you know, like you only just get a glimpse from the